Evan Carter had learned to measure time differently since the night his wife died. Before, time had been full of plans, deadlines, holidays circled on calendars. After, it became something heavier, something to endure 1 hour at a time. But one thing never changed. Every December, no matter how tight money got or how exhausted he felt, he promised himself the same thing. Christmas would still feel like magic for his daughter. Lily was 7 now, old enough to notice when bills piled up on the kitchen table, old enough to understand that Daddy sometimes stared at his phone a little too long before saying yes to things. But she was still young enough to believe in lights, music, and wonder. Evan protected that belief like it was fragile glass. That was how, on a cold December evening, he found himself walking toward the gates of Wonderland Park on the edge of Portland. Snow drifted gently from the dark sky, catching in Lily's braided hair as she skipped beside him. The entrance glowed ahead of them, wrapped in garlands and lights, a massive Christmas tree rising behind the gates like something from a storybook. The ticket booth receipt sat heavy in Evan's pocket, a full day's wages, gone in seconds. He pushed the thought away the moment Lily gasped. "Daddy," she whispered, squeezing his hand, "it's beautiful." That was enough. It always was. The park buzzed with life. Music floated through the air, cheerful and loud. Vendors called out over the crowd, steam rising from cups of hot cocoa and roasted chestnuts. Rides spun and flashed, their lights reflecting in thousands of excited eyes. Families moved everywhere, laughter mixing with carols and the crunch of boots on snow-dusted pavement. Evan stayed close to Lily, his hand firm around hers as they navigated the crowd. He felt the familiar mix of joy and vigilance that came with being the only parent. His eyes were always scanning, always counting heads, always aware of how easy it was for a small hand to slip free. Lily tugged him toward the carousel, its golden lights glowing like a promise. Painted horses rose and fell beneath a canopy of stars, music drifting softly over the noise of the park. They were almost there when something struck Evan's leg. He looked down, startled, and froze. A little girl clung to him with both arms, gripping his jeans as if letting go might cause her to disappear. She was shaking hard, sobs tearing out of her chest in panicked bursts. Her white coat was pristine but rumpled, fur trim dusted with snow. One shiny shoe hung loose, half unbuckled. Evan dropped to his knees without thinking. Hey, he said gently, lowering his voice. "It's okay. You're safe." The girl cried harder, burying her face against him. That sound went straight through him. He knew it. He'd heard it years ago in a grocery store aisle when Lily had lost sight of him for less than a minute. That same raw terror, the kind that didn't understand logic or reassurance, only absence. Lily knelt beside him, her small face serious. "It's okay," she said softly to the girl. "My daddy's really nice. He'll help you." The sobbing slowed just a little. The girl peeked up at Lily, eyes red and wide, searching for something solid. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Evan asked. "Sophie," she managed. "That's a beautiful name," he said. "I'm Evan. This is Lily. Can you tell me where your mom is?" Sophie's face crumpled again. "I don't know. There were too many people. I turned around and she was gone." Evan's chest tightened. He scanned the crowd, looking for panic, for a woman searching frantically, but there were too many faces, too much movement. "Okay," he said calmly. "We're going to help you. Let's go find security." Sophie grabbed his hand instantly when he stood, her fingers icy and tight. Lily took his other hand, and together they pushed through the crowd. The park seemed louder now, brighter, more chaotic. People bumped into them from all sides. Sophie whimpered every time someone brushed past, her grip tightening painfully. Evan lifted her into his arms. She wrapped herself around his neck, hiding her face against his shoulder like she'd known him forever. "You're doing great," he murmured. "We're almost there." The security office looked like a gingerbread house from the outside, cheerful and harmless, but inside it was pure tension. Parents crowded the room, voices strained, eyes wild. Guards spoke into radios, names and descriptions bouncing around the space. When Evan reached the counter, a young woman with tired eyes looked up. "Lost child?" she asked. "Found," Evan said. "Her name's Sophie." The guard checked her list and frowned. "No report yet. Do you know what her mom looks like?" Sophie shook her head, tears welling again. "She's overwhelmed," Evan said. "She can't remember details." The guard sighed. "Tonight's rough. Best thing is to stay visible in central spots. Parents usually retrace steps. Carousel, big tree." It wasn't perfect, but Evan understood. He nodded and stepped back outside. Lily tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, the carousel. Sophie likes the horses." Evan smiled at her. "That's a great idea." They went back to the carousel and stood beneath a bright arch, impossible to miss. Evan set Sophie down, but stayed close. The music softened her breathing. Lily pointed out horses, describing each one with careful detail. After a while, Evan lifted Sophie onto his shoulders. She laughed quietly, her fear easing, her small hands gripping his hair. For a moment, it felt like everything was okay. Across the park, Alexandra Pierce was falling apart. She had built her life on control, on preparation, on never being caught off guard. But none of that mattered now. She had turned away for seconds. Just seconds. A call from her assistant. When she turned back, Sophie was gone. Every child with dark curls made her heart stop. Every wrong face shattered her again. Her security team searched, voices low and urgent in her earpiece. No sign, no sign. Guilt crushed her chest. Every missed bedtime, every rushed goodbye replayed in her mind. She would give up everything, her company, her money, her power, just to have Sophie safe. When the call came that Sophie might be near the carousel, Alexandra didn't hesitate. She ran. She saw them before she reached them. A man, her daughter on his shoulders. Fear snapped into fury. "Put her down!" she screamed, lunging forward. She ripped Sophie from his arms, clutching her tight. The man stumbled back, hands raised. The crowd froze. Phones appeared. Security rushed in. "I was helping her," the man said, voice steady. "She was lost." "You had her," Alexandra shouted. "You were taking her." "I was showing her the lights," he said. Sophie began to cry again. "Mommy, stop! He helped me. He's nice." The words cut through the chaos. Alexandra froze. Sophie clung to her, sobbing, explaining between breaths how she'd been lost, how Evan and Lily helped her, how they waited. The truth hit Alexandra like ice water. She looked at the man again, really looked, at his pale face, at the frightened little girl beside him. Shame flooded her. "I'm sorry," she whispered. She fled before she could break completely. But guilt wouldn't let her rest. She sent her security team to find him. She needed to face what she'd done. When Evan and Lily entered the VIP lounge, they looked out of place, uncomfortable. Alexandra stood, heart pounding. "I was wrong," she said quietly. "I accused you of something unforgivable." "You were scared," Evan replied simply. The girls wanted to play. Laughter filled the space, light and easy. Alexandra offered compensation. Evan refused. "Why help her?" she asked. "Because she was scared," he said, "and because I'd want someone to help Lily." The night unfolded gently after that. Conversation came easier. The girls bonded effortlessly. Alexandra watched Evan with his daughter. The way he listened, the way Lily leaned into him like the world made sense when he was close. When Evan refused work that would keep him from Lily on Christmas, something inside Alexandra shifted. By Christmas Day, she invited them to her home. No staff, no perfection, just 4 people. They decorated together, cooked badly, laughed freely. Paper snowflakes hung crookedly. Potatoes were lumpy. The girls wore handmade crowns and held hands everywhere they went. Evan watched Lily smile across the table, warm and safe, and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. Alexandra watched them and understood that family wasn't about blood or wealth. It was about showing up, about choosing kindness, about holding on when fear tried to tear everything apart. When the fire burned low and the girls slept side by side, hands intertwined, Evan and Alexandra sat quietly, the weight of the year easing. Outside, snow fell softly. Inside, something new had begun. Not because of magic lights or grand plans, but because two people chose compassion in a moment of chaos. And sometimes that's how everything changes.